Alright, quick update on JASMY. Let's see what we've done since yesterday's video. So, yesterday we were talking about the likelihood of a breakout over the top of this bullish pennant, and as you can see, we've had follow through, we've broken above it. This is on the daily time frame. Now, I'll get into the lower time frames in a second. I did just want to show you we are having unrivaled amounts of volume that we haven't seen in a very long time. If I hover my cursor over here, can you see that this wick that we had here wasn't actually as big as this one that we're seeing right now? Neither were these ones down here. This is a huge volume spike, and the last time we had, you know, a volume candle that rivals this stature, you could argue that it was this one right here before we had a huge push up that we saw in the past week. Or look at this one down here. I mean, this was huge. We had a huge rally that soon ensued after that. So I really think JASMY is coiling up, getting ready for a huge move to the upside. The fact that we're above the short-term moving average but below the long-term moving average just means that the daily EMA is going to continue to converge on itself, get more and more coiled up as JASMY's doing this, and that just means when we have the move to the upside, it's going to be so euphoric in my opinion. Now, that is pretty much all I see for the daily. Like I said, huge influx of volume. That is the most important thing. And also this macro market momentum shift. We've been talking about this for a while. We were able to pretty accurately call the bottom on JASMY. If you remember watching our channel about a week or two ago, we were calling this as the bottom when we had a daily reversal in the squeeze mom. And we've talked about this before. You know, for those of you who are new to the channel, the last time the squeeze mom fired a daily momentum flip, meaning the bears were losing control and we were about to switch over into a bullish wave, we were right here on the 28th of February. And if we extrapolate the price, you can see we had a 200% rally. Now, bear in mind, this is not me cherry picking the data. If I wanted to, I could draw it to this low down here and say it was a 365% bump. I'm not trying to cherry pick it. I'm not trying to make it seem any better than it is. I'm simply pointing out, you know, we had this momentum shift on this day here. Within the next couple of weeks, we soon ensued with a 200% rally. I think we're going to see something like that very soon. In fact, when we were down at this low down here, I was actually talking about, you know, how I think we're going to have a 174% rally, and you know that might have seemed pretty crazy, but you know we're already up 37%, and you know take it with a grain of salt as well, because you know 37% is nowhere near up at 175%. That just means that in my opinion JASMY has a lot more room to go to the upside before it does eventually have a local top. If we come over to the much higher time frames like the weekly, we've got a weekly momentum shift, which is just even more bullish. It just means that, you know, when we start gearing up, we could have a huge rally like JASMY has not seen before. Now, I personally do plan on taking profits, you know, well before we even come up to 33 cent. In fact, I actually plan on taking the majority of my profits when we come up to the 5 cent region. That's just my opinion. Let me know where you plan on taking profits. I could potentially hold some until we do come up to some higher price targets. I believe this was a Fibonacci. I think if we come on the weekly, I mean it's orange, so I normally mark these orange bars as Fibonacci's. So it's the 236. It's the first Fibonacci that we've got coming in at about 9 cents. So that would also be a good place to take profit. Nonetheless, I'm sure there's a lot of long-term JASMY bulls that probably do plan on holding on to higher price targets. I am personally in this for a short-term trade. And if we come down to the lower time frames, like I said, we've had that breakout of that asymmetrical triangle that we were talking about. Now, what's very interesting about this, because you notice we've actually got 2 breakouts, or 3 breakouts if you want to count this one. But let's talk about this first breakout. We had a break up, we had a throwback to the, well, this was resistance. This was where we were hoping it would be flipped to support. It didn't get flipped to support, it was, we fell back through it. We had a pump back above it again. We came back down. This is once again where you would have wanted to see it get retested as support. We fell back below it. And on the third rally, third time's a charm as they say, this is what we did today. We came all the way up, we came down, and if we zoom in on the 4 hour, you can see we didn't quite make it down to the asymmetrical triangle, which is completely fine. It looked like a back test in my opinion, but we most importantly back tested the short-term moving average on the 4 hourly EMAs. I think this is incredibly bullish, and I think JASMY is setting up for a huge coil to the upside. On the 1 hourly EMAs, we are firing extremely bullish. You can also see here we did have a large selling candle coming in as we were kind of correcting down in this phase. But as far as I can tell, this was just really coming back down to test this previous resistance flip to support. And as you can tell, it did flip a support. Now, there's also one thing I want to talk about on the 4 hourly, and it's something that one of my subscribers pointed out in my last video that I did not see at all, but you can actually see. Let me draw it to this point here. I think this is what they were talking about. At least this is the only cup and handle I see. But you can see we're playing out a very, very, well, I don't want to say very, very nice. This is a little bit, could have gone out for a little bit longer. Looks more like a U cup than like a cup of tea, but nonetheless. We've got like a handle here as well, depending on how you want to draw it. I would draw it like this. Actually, yeah, I'd draw it like this. The rejection on the wick here, the rejection on the candle, candle body closed, tried to push above it, push back down, and then as you can see, it broke above the handle, came back, back tested it. I think this is probably the best way to draw it. So you can see we've got our handle right here, and we have started to break to the upside of this cup and handle. So very interesting stuff playing out right now. If we do extrapolate this price target, your neckline of this cup and handle pattern would be up here at 2.8 cent. You can see this would carry us all the way up to 3.8 cent. That is a very, very nice increase. From where we are now, that would be about 56% increase. I like how this is playing out so far. From the breakout, that would be a 36% increase. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on this. I am going to clear this up, however, just to clean up my chart a little bit. Nonetheless, I will keep the price target up there. Shout out to the person who did mention that cup and handle. Very interesting stuff. I did not see that. So once again, I mean, I've basically said everything. We're having a huge, huge momentum shift. Depending if you want to look at the 4 hourly momentum shift, the daily, or most importantly, the weekly, I think JASMY is coiling up for a very, very explosive move. We've broken out the top of this bullish pennant. We've seen continuation. We needed to see continuation. We've got, the biggest volume wick that we've had since, let's see, since pretty much back here in November of 2019, or not 2019, 2021. This was when we were having these huge, huge rallies to the upside. So, I really want to see how JASMY plays out over the next couple of months to weeks. I might be backpedaling a bit. I think after looking at all of these momentum indicators, specifically the weekly, I mean, we're not even near the heart line yet. I think I'm being too conservative by saying I want to take most of my profits at 5 cent. I think I'm going to backpedal on that, but I do want to see how the price does react over the next couple of weeks. On the weekly as well, you can see huge, huge potential W playing out with the neckline of the previous invalidation point at 3.7 cent. There is so much interesting stuff going on with JASMY. You can also see if this cup and handle breaks out, this would put us above the neckline of this W pattern. So there's just a plethora of reasons to be bullish on JASMY. The long-term chart, is not the most bullish thing, but however, the short-term chart and this momentum shift that we're seeing right now does make me think like JASMY is going to have a huge face tear. So once again, I'm not going to, not take profit when we come up to 5 cent. I am going to take some profit, but I think I need to, make a plan where perhaps I take 25% profit if we come up to 5 cent. I think the first fib up here is a very reasonable place to take profit. Maybe another 25% up there, at which point I would have way made back my initial trade on this, so I'd be, running on free money at that point. And then I think we could start looking at some higher price targets. I really don't want to, shill hopium and say 33 cent would be on the table after we break out of this. There's a lot of other levels that we could get trapped out, so we will take this one step at a time. Obviously there's no point in talking about like 10x 100x rallies while we are still coiling up, getting ready for this 2x move. So let's get above 5 cent and then let's talk about some future take profit areas. I'm probably going to take about 25% of my profit when we do come up to 5 cent. However, like I said, we're having so many bullish signals right now. Bullish pennant, cup and handle, having a huge macro W playing out, influx of volume. Daily, 4 hourly and weekly squeeze momentum is calling for a huge huge shift in favor of the bulls. And the cherry on the top, if Bitcoin continues by putting in higher lows and we do end up bouncing, you know, I made a Bitcoin video yesterday talking about the likelihood of us coming up to 49,000. I'm not going to jump into why. If you want to check out why, go check out my Bitcoin video that I made yesterday. Nonetheless, I think Bitcoin's gearing up for a huge move. If Bitcoin's going to have a huge move, I think Jasmy's going to have a face tear. That is all I see today. Jasmy looking amazing as always, nothing bad to say. That's all I've got for you today. As always, none of this is financial advice. If you did like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friend, and yeah, as always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.